For a hell of a long time now, fans of dungeon management games have been desperate for a good Dungeon Keeper substitute. That craving's only been spurred on by the horribly disappointing release that was EA's Dungeon Keeper Mobile last year. My name's Richard Nolan, and this is our preview of Dwelvers.
You made it. Good to know that you're good for something.
Dwelvers may not have a particularly high profile just yet, but it is one of a few interesting up-and-coming dungeon sims out there. It's in alpha, so it does need quite a lot of work, but I think the potential is pretty clear to see. There's a tutorial which does a decent job of introducing the core game mechanics and style. That's including the kind of tongue-in-cheek type of humour which is almost synonymous with games like this. Your first experience of that humour here is from something called the Talking Dark Mother at the centre of your dungeon. She operates as your dungeon's heart, and she also presents the tutorial, sarcastically proclaiming your intelligence as you follow her instructions to complete basic tasks.
I think you can figure that one out. Completed. You're learning. Yay.
The game's instantly familiar to old school fans of the genre, perhaps even a little too much so. The cameras control exactly as you'd expect them to, and ordering your imps to carve out passageways and build rooms is almost an identical process to the old DK games. However, a key difference can be noted almost from the get-go. Here your creatures gather and use resources to build rather than gold. Indeed, this is actually a game which draws a great deal of inspiration from the Settlers. It aspires not only to be a dungeon simulator, but also a game of production chain management, and those kind of mechanisms are central to how it plays out. Once you've got a few basic rooms set up, you can see your imps carrying water from the wells and grain from your farm to bake bread in the kitchen. If you don't get a good supply of bread and beer to your bar, then your minions start to get upset and everything grinds to a halt. Carving out rooms and passageways to new areas, treasures, and resources makes up the brunt of the gameplay. Occasionally you encounter some enemy creeps to fight off, or a special kind of area which allows you to attract a new type of minion to your dungeon. One such example of that is a maze of minotaurs with a chest of treasure in the centre. Rather uniquely, Dwelvers allows you to dig downwards as well as sideways. This allows for some rather interesting mining situations. Additionally, the extra dimension with the potential for staircases and pits adds quite welcome level of depth. The game also features the ability to custom equip your minions with armour and weapons, which, as would be expected, are a complex product that you make at the end of a long production process, kind of the Settlers style. It's clear that there are a lot of bugs to iron out here and there when it comes to the AI, and in a game like this, where you don't have direct control of your imps, it's pretty crucial that they act intelligently and in a way which you can indirectly predict. There was more than one occasion when my farm just stopped producing for no apparent reason, my imps stood around being idle, and my game was basically broken. In its current state, it doesn't take a great deal of time to exhaust pretty much everything Dwelvers has to offer. There only seem to be about 6 different creatures in the game, a handful of rooms, and a lot of semi-developed areas of gameplay. The possession mechanic, for example, currently allows you to view and move a minion in first person, but you can't actually get them to do anything. There are also a lot of parts of the game that at this stage seem overly simplistic, such as the combat, which is right now a little more than a brawl by the numbers. In addition, some of the more exciting features are still under heavy development and thus yet to come. Access to the overworld, for example, is limited to a teaser with a note that this part of the game isn't ready yet. So right now, this is a game with quite a long way to go. But what is there is enough to demonstrate that this could one day be another great dungeon sim with an enjoyable Settlers-inspired slant. We have to remember that this is a genre which could well swell in popularity in the not too distant future, particularly with all the excitement that's surrounding it. And I think what will ultimately determine how much success this particular title has is the final level of complexity and polish it receives from the developer before its final release. Dwelvers is currently available on Steam's Early Access.